Imagine a love story. She met him, the one. The wedding was perfect, filled with promises and dreams. They built a life together, shared everything, except, maybe, a clue about money. They weren't reckless, not intentionally. They just didn't get it. Money was this confusing, stressful thing that seemed to evaporate faster than they could earn it. Decisions were made on impulse, on emotion, on whatever felt good right now. Savings. That was a word for other people. Investing. Sounded complicated for bankers and billionaires. Years flew by, and that dream life, it felt more like a cage. Every month was a scramble. Late fees, overdrafts, the gnawing anxiety of will there be enough? She'd lie awake, staring at the ceiling, whispering the question no one wants to ask. Why didn't love pay the bills? Does that story hit a little too close to home? Maybe it's not about wedding bills. Maybe it's student loans, credit card debt, or just that feeling of being stuck on a financial hamster wheel. No matter how hard you run, we've been taught that financial problems are, well, about money. You don't earn enough. You spend too much. The economy is bad. But what if I told you that's usually the symptom, not the cause? What if 99% of financial struggles, the late rent, the drained savings, the arguments over bills, are actually rooted in something much, much deeper, something that money itself can't fix? It's about choices. It's about beliefs. It's about the quiet, often unconscious, patterns of thinking we inherit or adopt. It's about mindset. Think about Jack Ma, one of Asia's richest men. Did he get there by clocking endless overtime? By pinching every single cent? No. He became a billionaire by thinking differently, radically differently. His ideas often sounded, well, outrageous to traditional thinkers. Jack Ma, quote, "The biggest cause of poverty isn't money, but mindset." He famously said, "The biggest cause of poverty isn't money, but mindset." To him, poverty wasn't just a lack of funds. It was like a bad habit, passed down through generations of limiting beliefs and fear-based decisions. And wealth, that wasn't about luck or a genius IQ. Jack Ma failed his college entrance exams twice, got rejected from 30 different jobs, including a gig at KFC. What set him apart wasn't what he earned initially, but how he thought. That mindset, that's the secret weapon most people never develop, which is why they stay broke generation after generation, trapped by the same invisible chains. Think about the choices that got that couple into trouble. Marrying someone who looked great on Instagram but had no financial vision. Taking a safe job because an uncle recommended it, instead of pursuing growth. Spending money to impress people who didn't even truly care about them. These weren't random accidents. They were the direct results of unexamined choices. Choices made in fear, in ignorance, under pressure, or purely based on fleeting emotion. And those choices create the financial messes we later blame on bad luck or not having enough money. Most people don't have money problems. They have decision problems. Want to know the most expensive decisions you'll ever make in your life? It's not buying a car. It's not even buying a house. It's who you marry. It's who you listen to for advice. It's who you try to impress with your spending. These decisions, they determine the trajectory of your financial life more than your salary ever will. They decide whether you'll build lasting wealth or spend your life fighting for financial scraps every month. What if one smart decision today could completely rewrite your family's financial future for the next 100 years? No, seriously. What if this very moment, right now, was the starting point of a new legacy? Because while most people are frantically busy chasing money, the truly wealthy are strategically planting assets. They're not buying things to impress others. They're buying freedom. They're not focused on today's paycheck. They're building family names and fortunes that echo through generations. But here's the crucial twist most people miss. You see, 70% of wealthy families lose their fortune by the second generation. By the third, poof, gone. Why? Because they didn't just pass down money. They passed down stuff. They passed down expectations. But they often failed to pass down the wisdom, the mindset, the decisions that created the wealth in the first place. Money without structure, without understanding, dies fast. So, before we go any further, I want you to ask yourself one question, a really honest one. What am I building right now that will still exist, still create value, still be a source of strength long after I'm gone? If the honest answer feels a little bit like nothing, then maybe, just maybe, this video is the wake-up call your future self will desperately thank you for. Are you interested in charting a different path? In learning the silent strategies of building real wealth? If so, pause for a second, go down to the comments and boldly declare, I will be the first trillionaire in my family. Or simply, I'm ready to build. Let me know you're with me on this journey. Once I see your comment, I'll give it a heart. And while you're down there, if you value this kind of content, hitting the like button and subscribing takes less than a second and helps this channel reach more people who need to hear this message. We have plenty more inspiring, practical wisdom coming your way, packed with tips to help you live a more successful and fulfilling life, built on solid ground. Okay, assuming you've made that commitment, both to me and to yourself, let's dive into the blueprints, the types of assets that Jack Ma and countless others like him swear by, the foundations of quiet, lasting wealth. Let's begin. Blueprint 1, real estate. Income and appreciation. Blueprint number 1, real estate. Have you ever noticed how the truly wealthy aren't just flaunting luxury cars and private jets? They're often the biggest landowners. Jack Ma, despite his tech empire, has always understood the fundamental power of tangible assets. And when he talks about building things that last, real estate is high on that list. But he's not talking about a massive mansion just to show off. He's talking about rental property. Quiet, boring, money-making rental property. The kind that doesn't shout, but steadily performs. Jack Ma often said, don't work for money, let money work for you. And what better employee than a building you own but don't live in? That's the core principle. Wealthy people don't just buy property. They buy a system that pays them every single month. Whether they're sleeping, traveling, or stuck in traffic, that rent check keeps coming in, rain or shine. It's like planting a shade tree in your 20s and relaxing under its abundant branches in your 60s, while it provides for you and your family. Let me paint you a picture. Meet Mina. She's in her late 20s, working hard at a demanding job. She makes sacrifices, skips the expensive vacations her friends brag about, packs her lunch instead of eating out, and she saves, painstakingly. She takes that saved money and buys a modest 2-bedroom house. Maybe it's not in the trendiest neighborhood. Maybe it needs a little work. Her friends think she's crazy. Live a little, they say. Travel. Enjoy your youth. But Amina has a plan. She rents out the 2nd bedroom. The rent she collects doesn't just help. It covers the entire mortgage payment. She's essentially living for free, or at a drastically reduced cost. 10 years pass. The market does its thing. Her house value doubles. Her rent goes up, reflecting the market. Amina, now in her late 30s, has built significant equity. She has a steady, passive income stream. She has options. Her friends, still renting, still complaining about their bosses and the cost of living. Who's really living life now? Jack Ma has always played the long game. He said, if you want to grow quickly, plant rice. If you want to grow strong, plant trees. Real estate is a tree. It takes time, patience, care. But once mature, it shelters not just you, but can provide for your children, and even their children. That's lasting wealth. Not the kind you flash for likes. The kind that quietly shows up in your bank account, month after month. Here's another powerful aspect Jack Ma would appreciate. Real estate protects you from inflation. When the cost of groceries, gas, and clothes goes up, guess what else typically goes up? Rent. So while everyone else is feeling the pinch of rising prices, landlords can often adjust rents upwards, quietly counteracting inflation. And let's not forget the tax advantages. Property taxes, often deductible. Mortgage interest, deductible. Repair costs, often deductible. And then there's depreciation, a paper expense that reduces your taxable income without actually costing you cash out of pocket. It's not just smart, it's legendary financial engineering. And perhaps the most beautiful part? Real estate is something you can pass down. It's one of the few assets that doesn't just grow, it survives you. Imagine your daughter or son inheriting a house with the mortgage fully paid off and a tenant inside paying them monthly. That's not just an inheritance. That's a foundation of financial peace, a head start you built for them. Now, I know what stops most people. The fear. I don't have enough money. It's too complicated. Jack Ma would look you in the eye and gently laugh. He always said, if you want to do something big, start small. You don't need millions to buy your first property. You need courage, creativity, and a willingness to learn. Buy a duplex and live in one side while renting out the other. Find a trusted partner. Look into creative financing. Learn the market. Ask questions. Just start. Because if you wait until you feel rich enough to invest in assets, you'll likely never get there. We all crave freedom. The freedom from living paycheck to paycheck. The freedom to choose how you spend your time. Real estate doesn't just offer that freedom, it helps you buy it. Slowly, quietly, month by month. Until one day, you wake up and the script is flipped. You're no longer working for money. Your money, embodied in those properties, is working tirelessly for you. Ready to plant your tree? Go to the comments right now and type, I will invest in real estate. When I see that comment, I'll know you're not just dreaming. You're committing to action. You're starting to think like Jack Ma. And you're planting your tree today. Moving from the tangible world of bricks and mortar to the invisible engines of the global economy. The wealthy also understand the power of owning small pieces of the world's greatest companies without the headache of picking winners and losers. Blueprint number 2, index funds and ETFs. These are perhaps the most elegant expression of letting money work for you, for the average person. Think of them as buying tiny pieces of hundreds or even thousands of successful companies simultaneously. Apple, Amazon, Google, Tesla, the giants you know, and thousands more you've never heard of. Instead of trying to pick the one golden egg that will make you rich, you quietly, boringly, buy a small slice of the entire farm. Why is this powerful? Because you're not betting on any single company. If one company struggles, the other 499 in your S&P 500 index fund pick up the slack. You move with the market. You become the market. Remember Amina from our real estate example? Let's say alongside her property journey, she also decided to automate her savings. Just $100 a month, directly from her paycheck, into a broad stock market index fund. No drama. No trying to time the market. No checking stock prices hourly. Just showing up, month after month, quietly, consistently. 10 years later, she checks that separate account and finds tens of thousands of dollars that grew while she was living her life, working, sleeping, or yes, even messing up sometimes. That's the power of consistent investing in diversified assets. Even the legendary investor Warren Buffett, who makes his fortune picking individual stocks, has instructed his own family to stick with low-cost S&P 500 index funds after he's gone. Why? Because for most people, boring builds wealth. Trying to beat the market is a full-time job for geniuses. Becoming the market is something anyone with discipline can do. Jack Ma once said, never put all your hopes in working hard. You need to work smart too. This is working smart. Your money, harnessing the collective power of the global economy, growing quietly while you focus on building your skills, your relationships, and your primary income. So ask yourself, honestly, are you chasing the exciting, shiny coins, trying to pick the next hot stock based on a tip? Or are you building quiet, diversified wealth that grows steadily over time, allowing you to sleep soundly at night? Now imagine an asset that not only grows in value, but also pays you a regular income, simply for owning it. Like having your money send you little paychecks. Blueprint number 3, dividend stocks. If index funds are like owning a whole farm, dividend stocks are like owning the prize-winning cows that produce milk daily, which the farm then sells and gives you a cut of the profits. You invest in stable, profitable companies. Think household names you use every day, like Coca-Cola, Johnson & Johnson, or reliable banks. And these companies, as a way of sharing their success with owners, pay you a portion of their profits, usually every 3 months. That's income you didn't clock in for. You didn't make a sale. You didn't deliver service. You just owned a piece of the company. This is pure passive income. But here's where it gets really powerful. You can choose to automatically reinvest those dividends back into buying more shares of the same stock. Your little stream of income isn't spent. It's used to buy more little income streams. Slowly, your trickle becomes a stream, then a river, then a waterfall. This is how regular people, teachers, mechanics, stay-at-home parents, build significant wealth and income over time, not through get-rich-quick schemes, but brick by brick, dividend by dividend. Jack Ma understood patience. He said, "Today is hard, tomorrow will be worse, but the day after tomorrow will be sunshine." Most people give up during the tomorrow is worse phase, but the few who keep going, who keep planting those dividend seeds, they wake up one day with financial freedom that seemed almost impossible just years before. Let's say someone, starting with just $50 a month in their 30s, consistently buys dividend-paying stocks or funds. A decade later, those quarterly dividends might be enough to cover their monthly grocery bill. 5 years after that, maybe the dividends are paying their electric bill, then their car payment, and eventually, a significant portion of their rent or mortgage. They're no longer just chasing paychecks. They own the machine that helps print them. So ask yourself, are you living paycheck to paycheck, waiting for the next deposit? Or are you building a system, share by share, that pays you automatically, giving you back control of your time and energy? While stocks are accessible, the truly wealthy often play a deeper game, investing in businesses before they're listed on any public exchange. Blueprint 4. Private equity and business ownership. Owning the engine. Blueprint number 4. Private equity and direct business ownership. Most people only hear the term private equity when reading about billionaires buying massive companies. But the principle is accessible on a smaller scale. It's about owning pieces of businesses before they're famous, or even instead of them being public. This could mean investing in a startup, buying a stake in a profitable local business, or even purchasing and running your own small company. It's like planting a fruit tree. You invest early, you water it, you wait patiently, and one day it provides an ongoing harvest of profits. Jack Ma knows this game intimately. He didn't just build Alibaba from scratch. He was also an early investor and backer of other ventures. The rich don't just chase growth, they buy the engines of growth. They acquire businesses, cultivate them quietly, wait patiently, and collect significant returns, either through ongoing profits or eventually selling the business for a much higher price. And you don't always need to start from scratch. You can buy existing, profitable businesses. Think laundromats, car washes, successful niche websites, local service businesses. They might not be glamorous, but they generate consistent cash flow. I heard about a woman named Sarah who managed a medical clinic for years. She saw how the owner came in just once a week, but made more in a month than she did all year. She understood the operation inside and out. She saved diligently, got a small business loan, and bought a struggling local clinic that needed her expertise. She wasn't just an employee anymore. She was the owner. She implemented her ideas, improved efficiency, and flipped the script on her income and her life. So here's the question. Do you want to keep working for businesses your whole life, helping someone else build their asset? Or do you want to start owning the engine, directing the profits back to yourself and your family? While the crowd is focused on the daily drama of the stock market, people thinking like Jack Ma are backstage, buying the script before the show even hits the main stage. Now let's talk about an asset that's truly grounded literally, something ancient, essential, and surprisingly powerful. Blueprint 5, farmland. Essential and enduring value. Imagine this. While everyone else is fixated on the volatility of crypto, the drama of tech stocks, or the latest news headlines, there's this quiet, unassuming patch of earth, just sitting there, doing its job. No tweets, no hype, no overnight crashes. Just calm, steady production. That's farmland. You don't necessarily have to be out there plowing fields or wrestling livestock. You own the land. You can lease it out to experienced farmers who work it. You get paid a share of the crops, or a fixed rent. It's simple. Crops grow. People eat. Your bank account quietly grows. That's not luck. That's logic built over millennia. Jack Ma would see the wisdom here. He said, "Don't follow the crowd. Let them fight over the noise. Find the signal." Farmland is the signal. It's not sexy. It doesn't trend on social media, but it quietly builds wealth while the world scrolls past, distracted by the noise. Think about it. When was the last time someone didn't need food? You can live without a new app. You can't live without your next meal. As the global population grows, the demand for food increases, while the amount of productive land is finite, even shrinking due to development. This fundamental supply and demand equation makes farmland an incredibly resilient asset. And guess who understands this? The world's billionaires. They're not announcing it on TikTok, but they are quietly buying up vast tracts of farmland. While everyone else is chasing digital illusions or volatile trends, farmland doesn't care about hype. It just produces rain or shine, economic boom or bust, war or peace. So ask yourself, do you want the constant stress and thrill of the financial casino, or the quiet confidence of owning the essential ground upon which everything else is built? Jack Ma chose the signal over the noise. Maybe it's time you considered owning a piece of the farm too. Stepping away from productive land, there are assets valued not for what they produce, but for what they are. Things that hold value when everything else feels shaky. Blueprint 6, precious metals. Store of value and insurance. Gold and silver. Here's a thought experiment. If the global financial system faced a crisis tomorrow, if your paper money lost significant value, what would still be recognized as valuable around the world? Jack Ma, Warren Buffett, central banks, and countless empires throughout history all agree. Gold and silver never go out of style. They've been a store of value since Moses walked the desert. They've outlasted every empire, every currency, every war, every bubble, and yes, even every TikTok trend. When economies feel shaky, when inflation looms, or geopolitical tensions rise, billionaires and institutions don't panic. They often buy gold. Why? Because it's financial insurance. While your paper money gets punched in the face by inflation, losing purchasing power, your gold or silver just sits there, cool, calm, and retaining its shine, and its value. And silver? It's often called gold's street-smart cousin. It's more volatile, yes, but also more accessible for smaller investors. Crucially, it has significant industrial demand. It's used in electronics, solar panels, medical equipment. It doesn't just sit pretty. It works, which adds another layer of demand. Investing in precious metals isn't typically about getting rich quick. It's about preserving wealth, diversifying your portfolio, and having a tangible asset that isn't tied to the performance of a company or the stability of a single government. It's a bedrock asset, a silent guardian for uncertain times. Speaking of tangible assets tied to the earth, there's another natural resource that quietly grows in value, year after year, literally while you wait. What asset grows without you lifting a finger, becomes more valuable simply with age, and is a fundamental resource the world always needs? No, not your grandma's perfectly aged fruitcake. We're talking about trees. Timberland is land covered in trees that are harvested for wood, paper, and building materials. It's a powerful, often overlooked, sleeper asset. You buy a forest, or a portion of one. You manage it sustainably, or hire someone to. The trees grow taller, thicker, and thus more valuable every single year. When the market conditions are right, you harvest the mature timber. You sell the wood. You make a profit. Then you replant and the cycle continues. And if the timber market dips, who cares? Trees don't check the stock market before adding another growth ring. You simply wait. You harvest when prices are favorable. It's patient wealth, predictable wealth. Add in the value of the land itself, which may also appreciate, and potential income from natural resources like water or even future wind/solar development, and you're sitting on an asset that can truly grow across generations. Jack Ma might call this silent power. It's an investment that doesn't roar for attention, but quietly, inexorably, grows stronger. Now for something completely different. While some assets are valuable for their utility or production, others gain value through scarcity, history, and cultural significance. Blueprint number 8. Fine art and collectibles. What if investing in a painting, a sculpture, or a rare collectible could be a legitimate path to building wealth, not just a hobby for the super rich? While most people follow volatile market trends, the wealthy often invest in things with limited supply and enduring cultural or historical demand. Think a Picasso painting, a rare vintage car, an iconic piece of jewelry, or even certain high-value trading cards or comic books. These assets don't necessarily fluctuate with the daily chaos of the stock market. Their value is often driven by rarity, provenance, who owned before, condition, and historical significance. They can quietly appreciate in value over years, sometimes decades. And you don't necessarily need to be a billionaire to start. Platforms now exist that allow you to invest in fractional ownership of masterpieces or high-value collectibles, making this asset class more accessible. This isn't just about showing off wealth. It's about understanding that value isn't solely tied to income generation. It can also be tied to unique objects that become more desirable over time due to scarcity and legacy. It's about building something that grows in value without requiring your constant daily effort, fueled by passion and exclusivity. Are you buying things that drain your wallet and lose value the moment you acquire them? Or are you looking at assets, even unconventional ones, that have the potential to feed your financial future? Moving back to the realm of ideas and creativity, the most powerful assets aren't always physical. Some of the greatest fortunes are built on things you can't touch, but that impact millions. Blueprint number 9. The power of intellectual property. Imagine creating something brilliant just once, a catchy song, a groundbreaking invention, a beloved book, a unique software code, and getting paid for it, year after year, decade after decade. That's the magic of intellectual property. It's the engine behind some of the world's biggest fortunes, and the ultra-wealthy understand its power deeply. They know that true wealth isn't just about creating something. It's about owning the rights to what you create, ensuring it continues to generate income long after the initial work is done. Think about Michael Jackson's music catalog, which still generates millions annually long after his passing. Or J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter universe, publishing, film, and merchandise empire that continues to grow. Or inventors who hold patents, earning royalties every time their idea is used by a company, without lifting a finger. It's not just about the product itself. It's the legal rights and ownership that turn a creation into a lasting asset. Jack Ma wisely said, "Your idea is not valuable unless you protect it." When you protect your intellectual property, through copyrights, trademarks, patents, or simply contractual ownership, you turn your brain, your creativity, your unique perspective into a factory that works for you, constantly generating income. So ask yourself, are you just creating value for others, writing, designing, coding, singing, innovating, without securing your ownership? Or are you making sure that your intellectual creations are assets that will pay you passively for years to come? Protecting your intellectual property could be the key to unlocking long-term financial freedom from your creative efforts. Now, let's look at assets that prioritize stability and predictability over flashy growth, the kind of investments that offer peace of mind. Blueprint number 10. High-yield bonds and treasury securities. The wealthy don't just chase aggressive growth. They also prioritize capital preservation and steady income. While many are focused on the daily roller coaster of the stock market, the rich often allocate a significant portion of their wealth into stable, reliable assets like government bonds, treasury securities, and corporate bonds. These aren't fancy. They're simply ways of lending money, either to a government like the U.S. Treasury, or a large, stable corporation. In return, they pay you regular interest payments over a set period and return your principal when the bond matures. It's a steady, often lower-risk way to earn money compared to stocks, less susceptible to market volatility. Think about giant institutions like banks, insurance companies, and pension funds. Where do they put billions when they need safety and predictable income? Often into these types of bonds. They're the financial equivalent of grandma's comforting, dependable soup on a rainy day. Maybe not exciting, but incredibly secure and reliable. Then there are high-yield bonds, sometimes called junk bonds, which are loans to companies with lower credit ratings. These are riskier, yes, but offer higher interest rates to compensate. They're still a form of lending money, but to more ambitious or less established borrowers. While everyone else is scrambling for quick profits and riding market waves, those who understand these assets stay calm, sip their coffee, and watch their predictable interest payments roll in. As Jack Ma wisely hinted, the rich don't just chase. They plant dependable seeds and then wait patiently for the consistent harvest. Are you constantly chasing the next big thing based on buzz? Or are you building a diversified portfolio that includes dependable assets designed to earn for you steadily over time, regardless of market headlines? Now, let's revisit the idea of luxury. What if those seemingly extravagant purchases weren't just about showing off, but were strategic investments in assets that appreciate? Blueprint number 11, luxury assets. At first glance, buying a rare watch, a vintage car, or expensive jewelry seems like the epitome of spending money, not making it. But here's the fascinating twist. The wealthy often make money on things that look like they're just having fun or showing off. Let's say you buy a highly sought-after model of a Rolex watch. 10 years go by. Most people might just see an expensive timepiece. But if you chose wisely, cared for it, and kept a box and papers, that same watch might now be worth double, sometimes triple, what you paid for it. Because luxury, at its highest tier, isn't just a label. It can be a meticulously chosen, appreciating asset. Think of a rare classic car. You enjoy it. You maintain it immaculately. You limit its mileage. One day, a collector offers you significantly more than you paid. Who's laughing now? Fine jewelry, certain designer handbags, rare sports memorabilia. These items, characterized by scarcity, brand prestige, and demand, can hold and increase their value, sometimes even performing well during economic downturns when more traditional assets falter. The key is that the rich don't just consume luxury. They invest in it strategically. They understand which specific items are rare, which brands hold value over time, and which pieces are likely to become more collectible. They buy exclusivity, provenance, and history, knowing that when demand is high and supply is fixed, the price will go sky high. This brings us back to a core question. Are you buying things that primarily drain your wallet for temporary pleasure or status? Or are you learning to identify and invest in assets, even those disguised as luxury, that have the potential to appreciate and feed your financial future? Ready to redefine luxury? Go to the comments and type this phrase. Luxury isn't what you wear, It's what keeps working for you long after the party's over. When I see your comment, I'll know you're seeing value in a new way, and I'll give it a heart. Following the theme of appreciating consumables, there are certain unique assets you might even find at a seller that can yield surprising returns. Blueprint number 12. Fine wine and rare whiskey. Imagine buying a bottle of a rare vintage wine or a limited edition whiskey released today for a few $100s. You don't drink it. You store it properly. A few years or a decade later, a collector offers you thousands for that same bottle. It's sat there, quietly aging, doing all the work, and appreciated like a fine asset. To most people, wine and whiskey are for enjoyment. To a growing number of savvy investors, they're appreciating assets. The secret: scarcity plus time. When a distillery releases a rare batch, or a vineyard produces an exceptional vintage in limited quantity, that's often it. As collectors and connoisseurs acquire and consume these limited supplies, the remaining unopened bottles become rarer, and their value can skyrocket, especially if the quality is exceptional. It's the same underlying principle behind collectibles: exclusivity and increasing demand on a fixed or shrinking supply. Yes, there's a learning curve to understanding which wines or whiskeys are likely to appreciate, and proper storage is crucial. But investment funds dedicated to rare spirits are also emerging, making this asset class more accessible. Jack Ma believed in investments that grow passively, requiring minimal ongoing effort from the owner. What could be more passive than letting a sealed bottle sit in a dark, temperature-controlled cellar, doing all the work of appreciating in value? So next time you see someone with a truly exceptional bottle, you might wonder, are they a drinker or a silent investor in liquid gold? From liquid assets to paper assets, but not the kind you print, the kind you read. Blueprint number 13. Rare books and manuscripts. What if a dusty, old book isn't just something you donate to Goodwill, but a hidden fortune waiting to be discovered? A first edition of a beloved novel, signed by the author, could be worth thousands. An ancient manuscript, a historical document, a book once owned by a famous figure with their personal notes inside. These aren't just paper and ink. They are pieces of history, culture, and human genius. The value isn't just about age. It's about scarcity, condition, historical significance, and provenance. A book doesn't need to be ancient to be valuable. A first printing of a modern classic, especially signed, can command high prices. The rich understand that not all wealth screams for attention. Sometimes, it sits quietly on a bookshelf, accumulating value while the world is distracted by the ephemeral. It's a subtle, intellectual form of investing in history and legacy. As the saying goes, real value is often invisible until someone truly understands and sees it. So next time you're tempted to clear out your shelves, remember, your next fortune might be hiding in a book you almost gave away. Type this phrase in the comments. Real value is often invisible until someone else sees it. Let me know you appreciate the subtle power of these hidden assets. I'll give your comment a heart. Moving back into the digital realm, let's explore how owning online real estate can generate income while you sleep. Blueprint number 14. Cash flowing websites. Owning a successful website is like owning a profitable storefront on the busiest digital street in the world. But unlike a physical shop, you don't necessarily need to unlock the doors every morning. A well-built blog, a niche e-commerce site, a useful online tool, or a popular content site can generate income 24/7, often with minimal ongoing effort once established. Income can come from advertising revenue, affiliate marketing, promoting other people's products, selling your own digital or physical products, or providing subscription content. Every click, every visit, every sale happening on that site is a potential dollar earned, whether you're awake or asleep. Some people build websites from scratch, creating valuable content or services. Others buy existing, underperforming websites and improve them, essentially flipping them like virtual houses for a profit, or keeping them for the recurring income. The startup costs can be relatively low compared to physical businesses or real estate, but the potential for global reach is massive. Your audience isn't limited to your neighborhood. It's anyone with an internet connection. Jack Ma didn't just see the internet as a tool. He saw it as a vast, interconnected universe of opportunity. And in that universe, owning a valuable piece of digital real estate means your money truly never sleeps. So ask yourself, are you spending your online time passively scrolling through endless feeds? Or are you actively building or acquiring digital assets that others will scroll to, creating value and generating income for you? Finally, let's talk about owning attention. In today's world, attention is a valuable currency, and those who can capture and hold it can build empires. Blueprint number 15. Media companies, large and small. Ever wonder why content creators, podcasters, YouTubers, and online personalities seem to be building significant wealth and influence? Because they own the media channels that capture attention. A single viral video, a compelling podcast episode, a popular newsletter, a powerful blog post. If it resonates, it gets shared, watched, listened to, reposted, and monetized again and again. That's the power of owning a media company. Even if that company is just you and a camera. You don't need a Hollywood studio or a massive team to start. You need a valuable perspective, consistency, the willingness to connect with an audience, and the platforms to distribute your content. The wealthy don't just consume media. They own the channels that create the content others binge watch. They capture your attention, build an audience, and then monetize that attention through ads, sponsorships, selling products, physical or digital, premium content, or building related businesses. In an attention economy, owning a media channel is owning a direct line to your audience, a powerful asset that can generate income and influence. So here's the challenge. What's stopping you from being the channel? Instead of just a viewer? Go to the comments and type. Content is fire. Social media is gasoline. Create something meaningful, and the world will fuel your empire for you. This is a powerful mindset shift. In conclusion, true wealth often isn't loud. It doesn't always announce itself with flashy cars or obvious displays. Sometimes it whispers. It grows quietly in the background, multiplying through smart decisions and strategic asset ownership, while others are distracted by noise and fleeting trends. Jack Ma didn't just build a business. He built an ecosystem, a network of value and assets that continues to provide long after the initial struggle. That's not luck. That's vision, patience, and a fundamentally different approach to how money works. It's what happens when you stop working just for a paycheck and start building assets that work tirelessly for you. Think about where you are investing your most valuable resources right now. Your time, your energy, your creativity, your focus. Are you just grinding away on the hamster wheel, hoping for a bigger paycheck? Or are you planting seeds for the future, building assets, piece by piece, that will provide shelter and sustenance for decades to come? Wealth doesn't come from endless hours of exhausting hustle alone. It comes from working smart, making intentional decisions, and creating systems that pay off long-term. Your creativity, your patience, your attention to valuable principles, these are all forms of currency. Use them wisely, and they will bring you more than just money. They will bring you time, peace of mind, security, and the ability to create a lasting impact. Jack Ma built more than wealth. He built a legacy rooted in thinking differently and building value. You don't need to be a billionaire to start doing the same. Start today. Start by shifting your mindset. Start by making conscious decisions. Start by learning about these blueprints for building real wealth. Move smart. Build something that lasts. If you found this video valuable, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Drop a comment below sharing your biggest takeaway, or which asset blueprint resonated with you most. And if you watched all the way through this journey, leave a comment saying, I watched the video till the very end, so give me a heart. It lets me know you're truly committed to learning and building. Don't stop here. If you haven't already, Please hit that subscribe button and become part of the Phenom Finance family, or as I like to call us, the Phenom Investors, a community dedicated to building real wealth, one smart decision, one planned asset at a time. Give this video a like to show your support. Share it with someone you know needs to hear this message, and let's spread financial wisdom together. And don't forget, we've got more life-changing videos waiting for you right here on the screen. Click on one and keep leveling up your financial game. We appreciate you. We believe in you. And we're here to help you grow and win. See you in the next video.